This is the Hype Squad with Charli McConnell, a podcast where women can be full of themselves and brag about what they're good at. Each week, we're going to bring you conversations covering topics like motherhood, life, relationships, business, and everything in between, because anything is possible with your very own Hype Squad. What's up, ladies? Welcome back to the Hype Squad. Rachel and I are having quite the gab session, and I said, let me go ahead and start recording because this shit is gold. This is what we do all the time. And we were going to read off of our paper with all of our comments that people left as far as what you wish you would have known in college. And we wanted to just kind of get off on our own little tangent, what organically came up. So that's where you're meeting us, is trying to figure out what our topic is going to be. Welcome back, Rachel.
Hey.
You
Happy
never
to be
left.
here.
You're always here. We love you so much. All right. So what do you think would be a good topic for us to talk about?
Why are you gonna put me on the spot like that?
Well, because now that I did the intro, you're like,
now I'm stressed.
Um,
Suddenly.
so we were talking about Snapchat, which I think could be
no.
its own little
Let's talk
conversation.
about that.
And then so many other things that could resonate. So let's just start with Snapchat because I need you to teach me what the hell is the big deal with Snap. I don't even have Snapchat, but everyone I talk to, even the adults that I work with, the adult women who are single, some of them who aren't, are on Snapchat.
Yeah.
What is
You
it
never
about
had
it?
Snapchat?
Yeah, I had
Oh.
it when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I remember it was before Instagram had stories or anything like that. I think before Instagram really even took off, but I don't really remember exactly. And I would watch I would follow celebrities Snapchat. Like I
Mm-hmm.
got into it for a little bit and then it just very quickly lost its excitement and I quit using it. But I always did love the filters.
Oh yeah.
The
No, they've
filters are
got those
fun.
everywhere. They're on Instagram too now, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but like for some reason, like Snapchat, that's always what I thought of when I thought
Yeah.
fun filters. But like, tell me, like, what? So before we started recording, I was setting up the camera, and Rachel, like, I could totally tell you were doing a Snapchat too because it's so funny. Like, and
Embarrassing.
if you've seen it in the wild, you know exactly what I'm talking about because it's like.
I was not doing that.
No, I'm not saying you're doing that, but it's like it's always like a phone tilt at like a weird angle, and it's like, and then the next thing you know, there's a picture, and then they start texting, they start messaging. Is that not fair for me to say that that's like
No, that
what all?
universally that
Yeah.
yeah.
So teach me
True.
what's the deal?
Well, how old were you when Snapchat came out?
I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I mean, let's see.
Because I was
How
like
old?
fresh with a smartphone pretty much when it came out.
Snapchat.
Yeah, when did it come out?
All right, so 2011.
Okay.
How old were you in 2011?
Well, I graduated high school in 2017, so whatever that math is.
Um, so in 2011, I had been married for 1 year. I
Okay.
was 23, so that checks out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was then. Yeah. Oh my god. So I was 23.
Mm-hmm. I like grew up with Snapchat, like core part of everything.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Snapchat was originally done because the messages go away.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, I'm not sure this is how they marketed it, but a lot of people would use it for like sexting, sending graphic pictures or whatever. I do remember one aspect of it. If someone screenshotted your picture, you could tell. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
still
still the case.
okay?
Yeah.
But the whole idea of it was that it was going to disappear. And so it wasn't anything they
Right.
could hold against you. Now, granted, I was married, so I wasn't dating. I wasn't sending like sexy little chats to people at that time when it came out. But is that what it's always kind of been used for, or how it's like transitioned into it's just part of like texting now that you can put a picture with it?
I mean, when it first came out, I was
Too
didn't even
young.
know
Too young,
what
mom.
sexting
She
was.
did not
Wouldn't have done
know.
that.
Baby Rachel would have never done that, mom. Ellen, if you're listening,
I mean, I
she'd
did
never
back
have
in the
done
day. I
that.
can't say
Ellen,
haven't
turn
sent
it
a
off.
risque picture
Turn it off,
before,
Ellen.
but quit calling my mom out. Don't talk to Ellen on
Okay,
here.
so pictures, yeah.
But I have always really enjoyed it because I, as we've talked about before, misread texts all the time. And so with Snapchat, you can send me your face and I can tell kind of like your emotion based on that. And it's kind of like the in between. So there's like texting and then Snapchatting and then like FaceTiming or video calling somebody. So like Snapchat, I can still kind of get a better vibe for like what you're feeling. And I'm quick to jump on like any slight change in somebody's emotions. So I'm like, if I can have that little edge, I'm happy with it.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah. That's
So
why I like our Marcos.
I was about to say, okay, so a friend of mine, her daughter is 16, and when she was telling her daughter about Marco Polo, which if you've heard any of the podcasts thus far, you've probably heard me mention it to some degree. It's a video messaging app. It's great. You should look it up. But I remember her explaining to her daughter what Marco Polo was, and I said, it's like Snapchat for grown-ups. And it's not, because like the messages don't disappear. They do save, whatever. And it's not a picture, it's a video. But I do think it plays on that same thing of being able to see their face and hear their voice and their tone and understand the message that they're trying to convey without misreading a text message. So
Right.
I can get on board with that. Can you do videos, or is it just okay? So you could just send it could be like a Marco Polo. You could just send a video of you talking and you communicate back and forth like that.
It's like a voice memo or whatever in text, but with your face on it too. So
does it make it better because they disappear?
Well, you don't now they don't even have to disappear. You can save them in your chats or I mean you can save Snapchats and now that like you can save it for 24 hours or something, like your whole chat so it doesn't go away or whatever. So you can keep the conversations, and I live and die by my memories. So like every snapshot that I've taken that I save from when I first got Snapchat, those memories pop up all the time. So I don't think I could ever fully delete Snapchat just because I have all of those memories that pop up like this day in 2015 or something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was a baby.
Is that like Time Hop? Did you have Time Hop? I'm totally dating
I did
myself.
not.
Please tell me someone out there my age knows what Time Hop is. But it kind of does that. So it'll pull like Facebook and Instagram. I don't have it anymore, but it was a separate app. And I think Facebook does it now on its own.
Yeah.
Like it'll say this time 10 years ago or whatever. But Time Hop did that. I don't know what happened to that app, but it would pull like your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever, and like send you messages of like this time 5 years ago or whatever. So I do. And that was always a really cool feature. So I like that Snapchat does that.
Yeah.
So I have a client who is a lot younger than both of us. And I'm going to ask you to explain this to me. You can have like your number one friend or best friend or whatever it is. Like it's like in my mind, and you're not going to get the reference, I'm sure, but in MySpace land, before Facebook came out, you could have like your top 8. So like your top friend, you could change them. Like if you got mad at somebody and you take them out of your top 8. But Snapchat, I think, has like the equivalent of that, where like the top person that you message, everyone can see. Okay, you don't get to pick it, but it is the person you communicate with the most, and everyone can see that.
I don't know if everyone can see it. I don't really go looking.
Okay.
At one point, like in high school, it was where everyone could see like your top 7, and people got in like big trouble over that.
Yeah, I hear that happen in real time with clients of mine. Like I see that happen. And then one of my girls said something to me. Are there like countries or like some sort of, I don't know, countries, but like some sort of, I don't know if it's a game, and I'm probably going to totally butcher this, but like some other thing that maybe like a challenge. That's what I'm thinking of. Are there like challenges where you need to snap more each day or you're trying to snap a bunch or something like that. Is that ringing a bell for you at all?
I mean, it could be on there. I don't know. I don't
Okay,
necessarily use
maybe that's
that.
like a side thing. Maybe it's not with Snapchat. So, Snapchat is your comfort. Like if you were talking to a guy you were dating or seeing
Hmm.
casually, you would go to Snapchat first before you would message.
Sometimes I'm trying to grow out of that and be an adult. But sometimes when they don't send me their Snapchat too, I'm like, you can text me, but like, can I just for my own sake, can I also have your Snapchat?
So,
Like,
is that a real thing that people are like, send me your snap instead of give me your number?
yeah. Well, it's a security thing too sometimes because
Why?
I feel like it's like safer sometimes to give your Snapchat or like your Instagram or something versus like your actual phone
Why?
number.
I'm going to keep challenging this
Ugh,
because I'm like, what's less safe about
just feel like
an
it's like closer
app?
to your information.
What
But
can
I
you
guess you can
find out
block
from
somebody.
somebody's number?
I don't know.
I feel like with a phone number, they only get access to you.
Yeah,
With an app, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, they get access to you and everyone around you.
that's true.
So, as far as I'm concerned, and maybe this is just an old person's take,
Mm-hmm.
I think the app stuff
Mm-hmm.
is, I don't know the word you use. Say, what did you say? Safer, or what'd you say?
Yeah, I said safer.
But like to me, because your your phone, you're not getting photos, you're not getting your top friends, you're not you know what I mean, you're not seeing your activity like you would if you were just texting each other.
But also, your phone's connected to all of those apps, and so a lot of times, if you have somebody's phone number, then they'll why on Snapchat specifically, they'll be like in your contacts, you can add this person or whatever.
Oh
And
my
I feel like
god.
Instagram's the same way. People in your
Yeah, now
contacts.
that you say
Yeah.
that, yeah, because
So I guess it's kind of the same.
even when I go to the Marco Polo app, it'll pull up my
Right.
whole list of
Mhm.
contacts. You're right. You're right. So I guess it really doesn't matter.
Everything on the internet is connected.
No one is safe. No one is safe. Yeah, the Snapchat thing has always baffled me. I've
Hmm.
had clients of mine that I've had to really hold them accountable to move conversations off of Snapchat to because here's another thing like and I've heard this so many times like they left me unread. What does that mean to
Are you
you?
saying what are you saying?
Unread or
On on red.
unread or unopened?
Unopened, yeah.
Okay, they left me on unopened or they left me on read and didn't answer. So you could tell that they read it and they didn't reply.
Right.
See, I'm just showing my
Right.
age.
Or unopened because on Snapchat it's
On open,
opened.
on open. So it just says opened.
I hate this. This is so embarrassing. I am 25. I'm sorry. Because
For who?
I'm
This is
25.
I feel like this is embarrassing for me. So we're both in the same shoes. Okay, so what does that mean to you? Like the differences in that terminology? I won't say them again because I'll butcher them. But what do those two things mean if you're talking to a guy or a friend, or if you're in some sort of confrontation or having a hard conversation with someone and they leave you
Mhm.
unopened, or what's the other option? Red.
If they've opened it or if they just leave you undelivered, so they haven't opened it, but you can also check. Well, I'm turning into a psychopath over here, but you can, this was my previous person that I was talking to turned me into this way. I had never checked somebody's Snap score before in my life before this person. And so when he would not open my Snapchats for like a long period of time, I would check and see. And you can tell when they're Snapchatting other people and like just not opening yours. It's like,
What did you call it? A snap score?
yes,
What is that? So that
it's
means how much they're snapping other
how many
people?
Snapchats that you've sent or received. Or maybe it's, yeah, I think that's how it is. Like how many you've sent out and how many you've opened, which a lot of us who have had it since middle school, it's like a huge number.
Like what? What's your number?
I don't know. A lot of my friends are way higher, and you can see people's. Let me look up mine.
We're learning so much. Please tell me that someone listening to this is in my brain and not understanding a damn thing that she's saying. Is it just me? I'm fascinated by this.
That
It's
one's
such a
mine.
social experiment.
Up by my birthday. 292,000 or whatever.
Hold on. Is this how many snaps you've sent? Period.
How many snaps I've sent or received since I downloaded the app?
So when you see somebody's snap it scores going up, how can you tell it's going up? Like because you saw it before and you can tell the number's higher?
Yes. I'm telling
Can
you,
I
I
say what your
sound
score
crazy.
is
Yeah,
out loud?
let me go for it.
All right, ready for this? I was thinking like 100%, like 100% or like 90. I was thinking like that kind of score, like a grade is what I'm
Oh
thinking.
no,
When
it's
you
just
said
how
snap
many
score.
actual.
293,333. So what are some of your friends' numbers?
My friend Kelton has way higher than me by like 100,000.
So, okay. I've
Hers
had
is 383,103.
and climbing. Both are climbing.
Steadily,
Right?
that's like my main
Steadily
form
growing.
of talking to her. So.
So okay, I think that this is just like kind of a great like magnifying glass over all of these different apps and how entangled you can get with them.
Yeah.
And I'll share this because I have a friend and I won't say any names or anything, but she'll know who I'm talking about when she hears it. I have a friend, also a client, who will look at people that she's dating who they're following. And she can tell if there's a new person. And I don't know, I've never asked specifics if it like brings it all the way to the top of the people who are newly following. I'm not sure like how she can tell, because she can tell like when the guy she's seeing has new followers or new friends or whatever the terminology is that wasn't there a couple of weeks ago or whatever. And it's kind of, I'm not going to say a pattern, but it's kind of a thing that she goes back to when she's feeling I don't know, not super confident or questioning something that's happening or whatever. And she's not alone. Like a lot of people do that. It may not be the Instagram version of that, but it's the Snapchat version of that. Like there's this like loop of if you're not talking to me and I can tell that you're talking to other. And also it's a really interesting way of manipulation by the other party,
Right.
because they want you to know I'm not talking to you, but I am talking to other people. And so maybe that's their top friend or whatever it's called. They know that it's changing and they want you to see it, or they're manipulating the system so that it does become and they get back at you that way. Girls do it, guys do it. How do you think? Because, uh, and to back up, like when I was young, we didn't have any of this. Like there was no social media, there was barely internet. I mean, there was internet, but it was dial up. And when I was in school, it was like AOL Instant Messenger, which was AIM, MSN, whatever Messenger. There were like two messengers, but you would also get in like these like chat rooms with strangers and talk and like create your little profile name or whatever. And that was what we did. I mean, it could have been like 60-year-old men that we were talking to. We never would have known. There were no photos or anything. It was still its own version of scary looking back on it, but nothing like it is now. And then MySpace came out, and so that was kind of the beginning of that manipulation thing, because you could do your top 8 friends. And MySpace, please bring it back. You could have like a profile song. So if like somebody broke your heart or pissed you off, you made your anthem, your profile song, and anyone that came onto your profile knew how you felt, like, and that you were mad. Or it was like Casey and JoJo. You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but somebody out there listening to me does. Like this like 8th grade dance song type of thing you would put on there. Anyway, just like it sent a message, right? And to me it's like it's all of these new century platforms that are really just a way of sending subliminal messages to each other without actually having to communicate. And the Snapchat thing blows my mind. But if I were to tell you stuff like, the song thing with
Mm-hmm.
MySpace, it would blow your mind equally, right? Because you're just not familiar with it. But it's wild. Like, you said you're trying to be a grown up in texting. What does that mean? Like, what do you have like a negative connotation to being on Snapchat, or like people like me give you a hard time about it, stuff like that? Like, why do you feel like you need to deviate from that platform?
I feel, well, especially now since I'm talking to like older men, that the older men that have Snapchat are only on there for certain
Skeezy.
reasons.
They're
And like
skeezy men. Is that a fair assumption?
some of
To some
them for
degree.
sure. Yeah. I mean, I like to say I'm not attracted to skeezy men, but we all are.
They all
It's
serve
fine.
their place, right?
They serve their purpose. It's fine. Keep them around when you need them. That's all.
Yeah. Skeezy men, they have a place. They do.
Um, but I mean, I feel like through texting, or really through not even texting, but like phone calls and stuff, you can actually develop a real relationship with somebody.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to my Marco Polo, which is Snapchat for grown-ups, is what I'm calling it. Marco Polo is an app. Look it up. It's spelled just like the pool game, Marco Polo. But it's the video messaging app. And since I have started using that app, I'm such an advocate for FaceTime
Mm-hmm.
and Marco Polo, because I think, especially for the season that I'm in right now, where I do so much virtual work, so much coaching session. The majority of my coaching sessions are virtual over Zoom. And in the beginning, I was really concerned about the authenticity of the support I could give in that platform.
Mm-hmm.
And really it's easy. It's a different type of energy draining when someone's not actually sitting across from you. And so that takes a little bit to get used to, and draining is probably not the right word, but outside of that, it's the closest thing you can get to being face to face.
Right.
And Marco Polo gives you that, but with like an added element of convenience. So you can do notes and you can do photos and stuff like that, but ultimately the only real way that I use it is video messaging. And what's really great about it is you're just talking. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're just I have a little phone holder in my car, and I'll put it up and I'll talk while I'm driving. That's probably my favorite time to Marco. But then, like, I get to process without any interruptions,
Right.
without any feedback, without anything like that. And then when they're ready to reply, they get the same. And I can listen to it on my own time whenever I'm ready. Maybe I can only listen to 5 minutes, pause it, and come back to it later. But that convenience of it is crucial to me in like wanting to connect with people. And
Mm-hmm.
most people who I introduce it to, because I use it with all of my clients, they start to get their friends to start
Mm-hmm.
using it. They start to really enjoy it because there's something about it. And there's probably 100 other versions of that. Marco Polo is just the one that I use.
Yeah.
But like, to hear you say phone calls, I would even want to challenge that to say like FaceTime. And here's the thing too, is even when people do Marco Polo for the first couple of times, they're always really uncomfortable. They always feel like they need to get on and look a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
or because their idea of being on camera in any capacity is like fully presentable. But that's not real life. I
Yeah. No.
mean, if you do get in a partnership with somebody, just going to that reference specifically, you're not always going to be done up when they see you. Like, why not let them get to know
Mm-hmm.
you, right? The only difference is you're now seeing what they saw or what they do see. And it's an interesting, like, version of mirror work, if you will, like getting to know yourself on a different level. But I would even like challenge you to say, like, do Zooms or not Zooms or FaceTimes or Marco Polos, so that, yeah, you get their voice and not a texting, but you also get to see their face and you
Right.
get to see like the world around them, what they're doing, kind of gives you this bird's eye view into their life that I think is really cool, which I think is ultimately the premise behind Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
But there's all of these like other added noise to it that there's not with Marco Polo, at least not that I'm aware of. or not that I like pay attention to. So, would you be hesitant to get on a FaceTime with a guy that you're dating or talking to?
I mean, probably at first, but that I would prefer to do that, especially since I mean, you never know who a person is. So like
True.
I would always prefer to FaceTime them or there's something real like that so I know like they're who they say they are or as much as I can get through a phone before
Mm-hmm.
I would physically go see somebody.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you just send him your Marco Polo. Like, what's your Marco? Not what's your snap. What's your Marco? That we need to make that cool. Okay. Okay. I think that's a good idea. What else would you like to add about our Snapchat conversation?
um I never check anyone's snap scores. I've never done
Never,
it. I actually lied before.
never, never in a million years would she ever be concerned about your snap score.
But I do I mean it's good and it's bad in itself. I've deleted it and stopped talking to people because I'm less likely just to text that person to keep up with them, and so I've kept up with a lot of friends that I would have lost without it. So
Hmm.
it's got good and bad.
Hmm. All right. All right, so let's wrap up our Snapchat conversation with a hype list.
Okay.
So, one thing you've achieved, one obstacle that you've overcome in order to achieve that.
One thing I've achieved lately is going to the gym. I don't know.
That's
Oh, okay.
good because
I
I
thought you were
can't
saying
even
that
say
wasn't a
it.
good one.
No, it's great. I can't say it. So I'm like, go, Rachel. Right? Okay.
And my obstacle was um I had to find someone to go with me because I was not going by myself. And so now I've got a friend
Mm.
and we half the time both skip, but we're still more likely to bully the other one into going.
An accountability buddy
Yeah.
is important. It really is. And it's almost like it gets your foot in the door, and then maybe eventually you don't need her to go.
Yeah.
Like you'll go by yourself. But it's like you have to
Yeah.
build up. Gym comfort is a hard thing to build, and it's way harder if you're trying to build it by yourself. But
Yeah.
if you build it with a friend, whether it's in a class setting or whatever, eventually you'll get to the point. But that's a whole nother conversation that we could have. Because it's intimidating as shit to go to the gym by yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
I get
Mm-hmm.
that. Thank you, Rachel, for being here and teaching me all about Snapchat. I'm sure people listening probably have more things to add or more things to comment on. So if you have anything you want to share, let us know, comment, direct message us, whatever. But we're so happy that you're here and grateful that you're part of this community and you're listening. And thanks for getting hyped with us today. And that's all, folks. Cut. Rachel, cut. You're the one editing this.
Cut it out. It's me.
Cut.
Well, if it's me, maybe I'm gonna cut it now.